Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Listen to the news every day. Biden's patience with Israel is running out. I've had enough. President Joseph R. Biden stands at a pivotal juncture regarding America's military assistance to Israel in its conflict against Hamas, a decision poised to leave a lasting imprint on both his presidency and the U.S. Israel relationship in the Middle East. The suspension of arms shipment to Israel, coupled with a State Department report implicating U.S. weaponry in Gaza operations that failed to adequately safeguard civilians, signifies a significant shift for the Democratic leader. In an unprecedented move since the conflict's onset, President Biden has conditioned the provision of U.S. supplied arms, halting the delivery of high-capacity bombs and artillery shells until Israel refrains from its proposed incursion into Rafah, a densely populated urban center. Reflecting on Biden's stance, Representative R. O'Connor of California, a prominent progressive voice, remarked, "His patience seems to have worn thin, particularly after extending significant goodwill for months." Growing discontent among progressives towards Biden's handling of the conflict, now in its 7th month, has reached a boiling point. Campus protests have erupted, while young voters and Democratic legislators caution against a loss of support at the ballot box. Senator Bernie Sanders has drawn parallels between the conflict and the Vietnam War. The issue of U.S. military aid to Israel has sharply divided the Democratic Party, with a sizable faction expressing reservations about Biden's approach. Although the majority of congressional Democrats supported bolstering aid to Israel in April, 88 party members raised significant concerns about Israeli actions in Gaza in a recent letter to the president, advocating for a reconsideration of arms transfers. Following Biden's decision to suspend arms deliveries, a smaller contingent of Democrats penned a letter expressing apprehension, urging the administration to elucidate its position in a classified briefing. Concurrently, Republicans, led by House Foreign Affairs Chairman Michael McCaul, have lambasted Biden's actions, warning of strained U.S. Israel relations and heightened regional instability. Explaining the rationale behind the arms suspension, U.S. officials cited the densely populated nature of Rafah, home to over 1 million displaced individuals, as a key factor. With Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu contemplating a major ground offensive, President Biden has reaffirmed his support for Israel's defense while emphasizing the need for caution. White House spokesperson John Kirby underscored efforts to pressure Hamas while exploring alternatives to a large-scale ground operation. However, uncertainties persist regarding casualty figures, with conflicting reports from the Gaza Health Ministry and Hamas. Biden's recent actions signal a departure from previous assertions of non-intervention in Israeli military affairs, prompting Israeli leaders to weigh the counsel of U.S. military advisors carefully. Senator Elizabeth Warren emphasized the conditional nature of U.S. aid, cautioning against exacerbating humanitarian crises and reaffirming American commitment to a two-state solution. Netanyahu's response to the arms suspension underscored Israel's willingness to act independently, while White House advisor Jake Sullivan reiterated ongoing discussions with Israeli counterparts to formulate a comprehensive strategy aimed at defeating Hamas and fostering a better future for Gaza. Daniel Mouton, former Director for Defense and Political Military Policy for the Middle East and North Africa at the National Security Council, characterized Biden's actions as tactical adjustments rather than a fundamental shift in policy towards Israel. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stressed the delicate balance in U.S. policy, highlighting the administration's concerns about civilian casualties and the absence of a credible plan to safeguard civilians or address post-conflict reconstruction. While progressives welcomed Biden's initial move to condition arms transfers, skepticism lingers regarding the administration's resolve in enforcing such conditions, particularly in light of the State Department's reluctance to attribute blame in its findings. Allison McManus, Managing Director for National Security and International Policy at the Center for American Progress, echoed these sentiments, underscoring the need for unequivocal commitment to uphold legal and policy standards in arms transfers.